Hey guys, I recorded this video once, but I read the answer off of my calculator wrong because I just wasn't paying enough attention, I guess. So that's why it says that I got this question wrong once already. So anyway, I decided to re-record this video. So starting from the top, today we're talking about the midline of sinusoidal functions. So this whole series this week is going to be about sinusoidal functions. Sinusoidal is a blanket term that talks about both sine and cosine. So if something's sinusoidal, that doesn't necessarily mean it's a sine function. It just means that it has this shape. And as we've talked about in previous videos, both sine and cosine have this shape when you graph them. So it could be sine or cosine. All right. So then the midline is going to be a horizontal line halfway between the maximum and the minimum. So I'm just going to guesstimate where that would be. Something probably between 2 and 3. I don't know. Just a guess, just visually. And then we're given, so that's what a midline is. It's halfway between the minimum and the maximum. So we're given the coordinates of a minimum, and we're told that the amplitude is 5.4. So remember from earlier video, the amplitude is the distance from the midline to the minimum or the midline to the maximum, and that's going to be the same distance. So both of these are 5.4. So to figure out where my midline is, I need to take my minimum and add 5.4. If I were given the maximum, I would take the maximum and subtract 5.4. So remember, the equation for a horizontal line is always y equals, and then in this case it's going to be negative 8.2 plus 5.4, which is negative 2.8. Negative 2.8. So it's almost negative 3. So be maybe a little lower than when I drew it, but it's pretty close. Okay, so again, that's going to be y equals, because it's a line, right? So it needs to be the equation for a line. So that's why it says y equals there. And let's go ahead and type that in. So that's going to be negative 2.8. And there we go. So that's really all there is to it for midlines. So this would be the same thing. This is a sinusoidal function with a shorter period. That's why we can see so many more repetitions of it. But the way that we would find the midline here, notice that instead of given the amplitude, we're given the maximum and the minimum. So we're going to use the y-coordinate just like we did on the last one, because what we care about is the y distance, right? Not the x. X's don't really matter when you're looking for the midline. Just using the y-coordinates, and we want to find halfway between them. So to find halfway between two things, you can just average them. So negative 3.7 plus negative 11 divided by 2. So we're just averaging the two coordinates that were given. Oops. It would help if I typed the right buttons on my calculator. And so if you put this in a calculator, you would get y equals negative 7.35. So you're just averaging. So the negative 7.35 is about here, which looks pretty good. So that is how you do it. So first example, we were given a point and the amplitude. So you could be given either the maximum or the minimum and the amplitude, or use the average if you're given both the maximum and the minimum and not given the amplitude. Okay, so this one is the same as the first one, so I'm not going to do another example of that. So that's going to be all for this video. Let me know if you have any questions, and I will see you in the next video.